Hello, today I'm going to show you a video about making a wormery. I don't know about you, but we generate quite a lot of kitchen waste when we peel potatoes, peel carrots, and most of you probably put that in the rubbish bin. We don't want to do that because that's going to landfill. We want a better way to use that. Even your secret bills and things, if they're made of paper and you're thinking about shredding them, I've got a more environmental way of doing that. What it's going to make is this beautiful compost. This isn't the best stuff I've made, but it's pretty good, really good fertiliser for the garden, adding organic matter in as well. And that is made by these super creatures here, my tiger worms. And I've just dug these out and they're all hiding. And I will find some eventually. Here we go. Now these aren't earthworms that you're probably used to. These are far more red in nature. Why are tiger worms good? Because they break down very rapidly the waste that you've got, and they work at the top level. Earthworms burrow really deep down. So there's some tiger worms. You can buy those from the shop, or if you've got a friend who's already making a wormery, if their wormery is healthy, they should have plenty spare to share with you, because as you can see, mine are definitely breeding, because I've got some baby ones here as well. So how do you make them? Well, one of the things, if you are in Dumfries and Galloway, get that little beastie back, is that you might have got these recycling storage boxes that they were given out before we got our recycling bins, and these are going to be perfect. So depending how big a family you are, I think this is a good size to make it a small outside wormery. Really important that you've got drainage holes at the bottom, and these have already got drainage holes. So I'm going to make my wormery out of this, but I'm going to take that pen lid out. So I don't know if this is going to be any good for you to see from this angle. When we got our new bins, one of the things that they said you can't put into your bin was your greasy pizza boxes. And if you try putting a greasy pizza box into your recycling bin, you might have been told that they're not taking it away. So this is an ideal thing to use as a base, because the first thing we need to do is to make a base for your wormery, and cardboard is great for that. So rip up some cardboard, as I say, as long as it's not overly greasy. Just break up your pizza box. I've got some scissors, and spread that along the bottom. It's better in smaller sizes, not too big. And what's really important is that you dampen that down. So I'm going to have some water here as well. I've got some other card. This is a bit thicker, so this would probably do quite well. And this stuff here is also corrugated, but it's strong. Try not to get any sellotape, because they're obviously not going to break the sellotape. So if you can peel off the sellotape, you don't want that to go in there. But break down your cardboard, stick it in the bottom, and that becomes the base for your wormery. So there's my base layer, cardboard, and onto that I'm going to dampen that down. So it rained last night, so I'm just going to use some of the rainwater to dampen that down. That is the one thing that will need doing with your wormery, is it will need to be kept damp. Unlike a compost heap, where you don't need to tend to worry about the compost heap, do need to make sure that your worms are wet, and I've found that wetter is better. Certainly the bigger, I've used an old compost heap to try and make a wormery, and I am having to water it in the summer about every day. The next thing you want is some bedding, and the perfect bedding is the waste and the compost that the worms have already broken down. This isn't completely broken down, it was what I had, but that's about the right consistency. It's got a bit of leaf in it, mould, but that will make a nice compost bedding. You don't want to make it too thick, because obviously if you make it too thick, then your wormery is going to fill up quite quick. So I think that's okay for a nice depth of bedding for your worms. The next thing I'm going to put in is the worms themselves. So I've shown you those. So we'll put the worms in. In fact, no, I'll probably dampen it down a bit more first, and then the water can drain before. Okay, so Remember, because these have got holes in, the rainwater will run off. So that's quite damp. Then I'm going to put the worms in. So again, this is just worms from the top of my heap. So there's quite a few in there, and they'll be quite happy in their new home. I don't know what they think of being moved all the time. No, regularly tipping them out to make new worms. That's quite damp there, and you should find that the worms disappear underground because they don't like the light. If you don't like the worms, get a friend to pick them out. Then all we need to just start loading the compost bin, which is with your rubbish. So as I've said, there's some bits of secret paper in there. For me, it's old school tests that I don't need. Some things they like, some things they don't like. They love banana. Banana's a great thing. Love the tea bags, but they don't actually like the tea. They don't like the bags. It's up to you whether you can be bothered to unpick them. It's quite good if you can take out the tea bags at the time. What I tend to do is leave them in there. Worms quite like breeding in there. You often find the baby worms coming out of your tea bag, and then when I put it on the soil, you can hoik out any unbroken down tea bags. I am trying to look for a source of decaffeinated tea that's not in the bag. So all that can go over there. Some things they don't like, but I'll give you a list of what they do and don't like, and it's best if you trial and error. Don't put dog and cat poo on there. Don't put too much citrus, too much acidic stuff in there. And that's basically it. You'll find that there's other insects that enjoy in there as well. If you get ants in your wormery, it's probably too dry, so you'll need to just wet it down. So that's my wormery ready. Okay, you will need to put the lid on it because they will escape. I don't know why, because it's like eating at the Savoy. In the summer, make sure it's in the shade. In the winter, make sure it can't get too cold. And I'm going to deliver this to my friends, and hopefully she'll be able to use this wormery and not kill the worms. And I'll give you a lowdown on how she gets on with it.